Permanent residency refers to a person's visa status. The person is allowed to reside indefinitely within a country of which he or she is not a citizen. A person with such status is known as a permanent resident. Countries with permanent residency systems. Not every country necessarily has a facility for someone to be a permanent resident. Rights and application may vary widely. All European Union countries have a facility for someone to become a permanent resident, as EU legislation allows an EU national who moves to another EU country to attain permanent residence status after residing there for 5 years. The European Union also sets out permanent residency rights for long-term resident third country nationals under directive. A novel approach was the granting of rights across the national borders of states adhering to the directive. Other countries have varying forms of such residency and relationships with other countries with regards to permanent residency status. The countries that have some type of permanent residence status include Argentina, Australia, Bahrain, Belize, Brazil, Brunei Darussalam, Canada, Chile, China. Program started from 2004. Hong Kong, Macau, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, European Union, Austria. Descriptions: Barbuda, Belgique. Descriptions: Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus. Descriptions: Czech Republic. Descriptions: Denmark. Descriptions: Estonia. Descriptions: Finland. Descriptions: France. Descriptions: Germany. Descriptions: Greece. Descriptions: Hungary. Descriptions: Ireland. Descriptions: Italy. Descriptions: Latvia. Descriptions: Lithuania. Descriptions: Malta, Netherlands. Descriptions: Poland. Descriptions: Portugal. Descriptions: Romania. Descriptions: Slovak Republic, Slovenia. Descriptions: Spain. Descriptions: Sweden. Descriptions: United Kingdom. Descriptions: Ghana, Guatemala, Iran, Israel, Japan, Macedonia, Malaysia, Mexico, Nicaragua. Descriptions: New Zealand, Norway, Panama, Peru, Philippines, Russia, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, St. Kitts and Nevis, Switzerland, Taiwan, the Republic of China, Thailand, United States, Ukraine. Other forms of permanent residency. Turkey allows dual citizenship, and former Turkish citizens who have given up the Turkish citizenship can apply for the blue card, which gives them some citizens' rights back, e.g., the right to live and work in Turkey, the right to possess land, the right to inherit but not the right to vote. Some countries have made treaties regulating travel and access to the job markets. A citizen of an EU country can live and work indefinitely in other EU countries and in Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. The Trans-Tasman travel arrangement between Australia and New Zealand allows citizens of the two countries to live and work in the other country. A citizen of a Gulf Cooperation Council member state could live and work in other member states. However, for voting, being voted and working for the public sector or the national security in a country, citizenship of the country concerned is almost always required. Limitations of permanent residence. Depending on the country, permanent residents usually have the same rights as citizens except for the following: they may not vote, they may not stand for public office, they may not apply for public sector employment, they may not apply for employment involving national security. In Singapore, male PRs who have been granted PR before the age of 18 have to serve national service. Most first-generation males are exempted. They may not own certain classes of real estate. They are not issued the passport of that country. They do not have access to the country's consular protection. They may qualify to apply for citizenship after meeting a specified period of residence. Obligations of permanent residence. Permanent residents may be required to fulfill specific residence obligations to maintain the status. In some cases, permanent residency may be conditional on a certain type of employment or maintenance of a business. Many countries have compulsory military service for citizens. Some countries, such as Singapore, extend this to permanent residents. However, in Singapore, most first-generation permanent residents are exempted, and only the sons are held liable for NS. In a similar approach, the United States has selective service, a compulsory registration for military service, which is required of all male citizens and permanent residents ages 18 to 26. This requirement theoretically applies even to those residing in the country illegally. Applications for citizenship may be denied or otherwise impeded if the applicant cannot prove having complied with this requirement. Permanent residents may be required to reside in the country offering them residence for a given minimum length of time. Likewise, permanent residents cannot stay outside the host country for more than a certain period of time. Just like citizens, permanent residents must pay taxes if they have a source of income. Loss of status. Permanent residents may lose the status if they fail to comply with residency or other obligations imposed on them. For example, they leave the country beyond a maximum number of days, they become a threat to national security, or they commit serious crimes and become subject to deportation or removal from the country. Access to citizenship. Usually permanent residents may apply for citizenship by naturalization after a period of permanent residency in the country concerned. Dual citizenship may or may not be permitted. In many nations, an application for naturalization can be denied on character grounds, sometimes allowing people to reside in the country but not become citizens. In the United States, the residency requirements for citizenship are normally 5 years, even though permanent residents who have been married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years or more may apply in 3 years. Those who have served in the armed forces may qualify for an expedited process allowing citizenship after only 1 year, or even without any residence requirement. Automatic entitlement. Full permanent residence rights are granted automatically between the following: Ireland and the United Kingdom, including general election voting rights. The states of the Nordic Council, Russian Federation and Republic of Belarus. In some cases, citizens of participating countries can live and work at will in each other's states, but don't have a status fully equivalent to that of a permanent resident. In particular, under the Trans-Tasman Travel Arrangement, Australia and New Zealand grant each other's citizens the right to reside permanently and work in each country. However, the rights and entitlements of New Zealanders living in Australia under this arrangement are somewhat short of those of Australian permanent residents, in particular with respect to unemployment benefits and similar benefits. Proof of permanent residency. People who are granted permanent residency in a country are usually issued some sort of documentary evidence as legal proof of this status. In the past, many countries merely stamped the person's passport indicating that the holder was admitted as a permanent resident or that she was exempt from immigration control and permitted to work without restriction. Other countries would issue a photo ID card, place a visa sticker or certificate of residence in the person's passport, or issue a letter to confirm the permanent resident status. In Australia and New Zealand, a printout of permanent residence visa or resident visa is stuck to a page of the permanent resident's passport. In Canada, permanent residents are issued a photo ID card known as permanent resident card. In Costa Rica, permanent residents are issued a photo photo ID card, commonly referred to as a Siegel. In Germany, resident permits have been issued as photo ID cards following a common EU design since 1 September 2011. Prior to the date, residence permits were stickers which were affixed to the residence passport. In Ghana, permanent residents are issued an indefinite residence permit which is in the form of a sticker attached into the residence passport. In Hong Kong, permanent residents are issued a Hong Kong permanent identity card. In Japan and South Korea, all resident foreigners are issued a residence card, and for permanent residents the status is indicated. In Lithuania, permanent residents are issued a photo ID following a common EU design. In Macau, permanent residents are issued a Macau permanent resident identity card. In Malaysia, permanent residents are issued with a MYPR card similar to the MyCard issued to Malaysian citizens, the difference being the color and additional information stating the cardholder's country of origin. In Singapore, permanent residents are issued a blue identity card with the photograph, thumbprint and other personal particulars similar to citizens' pink identity card. In South Africa, permanent residents who have the passport endorsed are issued a certificate and a standard national green identity book showing non-SA citizen. In Slovakia, permanent residents are issued a red photo ID. In Switzerland, permanent residents are issued a yellow ID. In Taiwan, permanent residents are issued a blue photo ID card. A separate opened work permit can also be issued to permanent residents, allowing them to accept employment in any non-governmental positions for which they are qualified. In the United States, permanent residents are issued a photo ID card, officially known as a permanent resident card, but unofficially referred to as a green card. In the United Kingdom, the applicant is issued with a photo ID card known as a biometric residence permit, which states that the permit is a settlement permit for indefinite leave to remain.